legit really good for the time and is still pretty fun now. There's nothing it can do at this point to make me not. Bob the Builder was released on the iToy in 2007 alongside BioShock and Halo 3. Are we ready, everybody? Bob the Building. He's a building. Bob the Building. Oh no! This game was made by Blast, who, if you know your PS2, should be a very familiar name to you for their vast library of games that 99% of which are the worst reviewed on the entire console. And now they've got hold of your kids. And you wouldn't think that the game would need much of an explanation, but Blast Entertainment certainly disagree, because here you have a manual thick enough to explain the basics of Magic the Gathering, just in case you need to learn the best hand possible for laying plywood and bricks. What is the necessity for this? This isn't D&D, it's B&B. Building and Bobs. Right, so we've got splash animations, we've got Blast, we've got Hit Entertainment, we've got the Bob the Builder logo, and we've got... Dark days have fallen on the Bob household. Warning, Bob the Builder uses an autosave feature. Is that what's written on his contracts before he gets a job? But just be careful, everybody. Bob uses an autosave feature. Just in case it wasn't clear, this game is for young children. And because of that, I have to do one of two things. Cut my legs off, or point the camera at the ceiling to pretend that I am one. Okay, sorted. So what now? Should we hang out with T-Pose the Scarecrow? Should we wake up Bob before he runs down a deer? Or should we begin the game, where the story is all about that one time Bob had a seizure on the building site? At the absolute least, though, it is good to know that you can use all of the training you learn during the game to trade in your high scores for a real-life construction diploma. Let's begin the story mode then, and the story is that we are a builder and we're building a house. So naturally, the first mission is to catch fish.
I've promised her that we'll catch it.
Yeah, alright, yeah, I'll wave over the fish to This is a pretty unfair place to begin, if you ask me. What kind of back-end stab alley school did we come out of that the first thing they expect builders to do is angling? Welcome everyone to day one of training on how to be a doctor, and the very first thing I want you to do is a backside 180 tray flip off this man's head. Make sure you don't grab the trash though. That's not a fish, that's a boot, and it goes back in the water where it belongs. Taking it away is stealing. After all of that, you then get a cutscene going off into the next mission, showing off Bob and his wife's reptile telepathy.
Great! I love sports.
But he needs to know if you can start right away.
Don't worry. I'll go back now and speak to him. The others can follow along.
So yeah, if it wasn't obvious, the next logical step of a builder's life after fishing at 6 a.m. is then quad biking through the countryside and driving into fallen trees.
Okay, that one hurt a bit.
Oh, did it?
This game is exactly the same as that SpongeBob driving one from ages ago, but the thing driving moves slower.
Check me out.
Shit me out.
Which then makes the game harder and slower. So, screw me, right?
We made it! Sunflower Valley rocks!
Who decided that should be the voice of a quad bike? Another cutscene plays here, and this is where I decided off camera to expose my fiancée to the... Remember I told you to look up what a Sibian was? Well, now I'm telling you to look up CD Bob the Builder. It's just as bad.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right?
Why is he all, like, normal sized?
Yeah, he's a regularly proportioned man. He's gone from Bob the Builder to Bob a Builder. The next minigame is washing cars. Very important. Apparently by doing some fishing and quad biking. What are you talking about? We're on like level 6. When are we going to do some actual construction work? Like he's doing. And loving it. Loving life. My name's Bob. I love my job. The next step in the building process is then not building, as all of the farm vehicles have decided to steal everyone else's supplies, and it's our job to sort it all out and swap around planks of wood and cement. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, you should be. Of wood and cement. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, you should be. Bastard. You know, what's the point of your kids wasting their time doing all of this when you can just send them outside and have them do it for real? By the way, where the hell is Bob, the man who the game is named after? I saw him one time ages ago, and it was when he was quad biking away from everybody. I think he realised that was more fun than bricklaying. Is the story mode a psychological exploration of Bob's midlife crisis? Sadly, there's no time to think about that though, because we finally, after all this time, get to do some building. By scaring crows out of a field. By the way, he says he just needs help because he can't do this alone, but then the whole time you're doing this, he doesn't do piss. Why aren't you doing anything?
Spud's on the job.
Tell your friends Spud's in the market for another job. He has qualifications.
And so now, after all this nosing around, we can finally... Bob. We're doing building, people! We're doing building! Yeah, let's go! It's time to put some steel girders down. Yeah, and that's not all. The most exciting bit is yet to come.
The next stage is laying the bricks for the walls.
Yeah! But I've spent the first year of my construction university course being wicked on a bike and fishing. How do I lay the bricks? I checked thoroughly through Bob the Bible and I couldn't figure it out.
Here's Wendy and Scoop to show you how it's done.
Wanna play Incredible?
Through Bob the Bible and I couldn't figure it out.
Here's Wendy and Scoop to show you how it's done. See?
Oh, that's how you do it.
This is one of my favourite jobs, and also one of the most important. Without floors, we'd all be standing around in the cellar.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Putting the floor down is very important because if you don't have a floor, then you'd fall in through the floor.
Good job.
Good jobby. What a fine jobby that was. Bob the jobby. Can he lift it? Bob the jobby. He's got a bag. The building is over now. It's time to clean up and get out of there before the feds arrive. So make sure you're quick and follow the imitation cut-out cardboard Bob as he drops all the rubbish out the windows.
And I'll move in that direction. Make sure I'm directed.
Please do it quickly. I don't have long. Bob! Why did you give me sentience, Bob? Why couldn't you drive the bloody digger? Why did I get a brain, Bob?
Nice one.
Yeah!
It was also during this particular minigame that I had an epiphany on the lore of Bob the Builder. Oh, I've noticed, honey, just now.
Yeah.
Bob the Builder's theme tune, right? It's Bob the Builder, can we fix it, right?
Yeah.
They never ask, can they build it? And I know that sounds like a bit of a nitpicky thing to say, but if all they do is fix stuff, does that mean that they build it poorly and they have to fix it, all the shit that they end up building? Who was the builder before Bob? And with that, the story mode is complete. So what was the story? We did a day's work and 20% of it was building. That was the story. But like all great stories, there's a sequel. And so we move on to Bob the Builder 2. Potholes. Yes, we're not quite done yet because Blast wants us to fill in more than 10 potholes of the village roads in less than a minute before we leave the game and never come back. And I know that sounds excessive, but I lived in a village for 11 years and this is the most accurate depiction of real British life I've ever seen in a video game, including the cement mixer with eyes.
Once I fill the pothole in, they'll never find the body.
I think we'd better try again.
Why? We got 3 stars, you bitch! And that's it. The whole game is finished. In 19 minutes. And what's your reward for all of that hard work and cup of soup lunches in the van while reading The Sun?
Sing along now. As loudly as possible.
Ironically, he tells me to sing along as loud as possible, and then they play the theme song, which is then like 10 decibels quieter than the rest of the game, and I can't hear it. It's also worth mentioning that the theme song is the only background music of every minigame in the story, just at different speeds. And the full vocal theme you get as a reward at the very end of the game is the same full vocal theme you get at the very beginning of the game on the main menu. Unexpected item in bagging area. As a quick aside for a second, do you want to see how little the demand for iToy was by the time this lad came along? I got this game, brand new, sealed, for £3.99. And that was not the only one. Monkey Mania, Antigraph, Spy Toy, Clumsy Shumsy, Kinetic Combat, and now this were all sealed with the original PS2 plastic and were mostly all dirt cheap. The thought that there is just a warehouse somewhere filled with unsold sealed copies of Bob the Builder on iToy is enough to keep me awake at night, but I'd rather think about that than hear that theme song again. Build the Bobder. He's not built yet. Build the Bobder. How do we do it? Okay then, we're coming up to the last handful of games made for the iToy now, and man, I wish I could say that it didn't feel like it.